Well, hello YouTube. I haven't done this in a while, and I've never done a video like this. This is going to be a video about home mortgage. The reason I'm making this video is because I've noticed there's been a lot of videos, and I think there's one in particular I'm going to link to, basically telling people mortgage is a scam. Don't buy a house. And then they make their case. The thing is, how shall I say, there's a grain of truth to what they're saying, but at the same time, I think I think this is kind of a dangerous message because really, I'm a homeowner and I have equity and all that kind of stuff. It is a legit way to build wealth if you do it intelligently. And this idea, and some of these videos do, I think, actually say that at some point in the video at the end, but for people who don't, for people who just watch half the video or just the first couple minutes of the video, it's misleading and it's kind of dangerous that they're just putting in, oh, never buy a house, it's a scam. Now, if you do it right, you build equity and it can be to your advantage. That said, it's not for everybody. You shouldn't get a mortgage if you're going to be moving around a lot. You shouldn't, as a general rule, you shouldn't refinance more than once every 3 or 4 years. There's things that people should know about it and consider, so that they don't screw themselves over or allow themselves to be screwed over by misinformation. So yeah, so let's look at my notes here. Okay, so this one video I saw made the claim that most people will be in debt for the rest of their lives and never own their home. Most people, really? I refinanced a 15-year. I started out with a 30-year mortgage. I refinanced a 15-year and jumped ahead a few years. I'm on track to having it paid off in the next maybe 9-ish years, a couple of years ahead of schedule. It's still a long time. It's still a big commitment. But I'm getting there, and I have equity. They didn't really explain equity good enough, I think, because I'm now when they say it's a scam, it's not. In the best, fairest world, I think interest rates should be super low, even lower than what they are. Because the bank makes a lot of money off of this stuff, but that's the world we live in. I mean, money is what it is. They're not gonna give you a mortgage just to do you good out of the goodness of their. No, of course they're gonna be making money off of you, but it also benefits you because it's a hell of a lot better than paying rent. You pay rent, and with today's super high rent prices, you just pay and you never get anything back. You pay a mortgage eventually, if you play your cards right, if you don't overdo refinancing, if you don't move around a lot, you eventually build up equity. You eventually own your own home. You now have a home that's worth, for example, $200,000, $180,000, $250,000, whatever your home is worth, which you can now sell and maybe put that in your pocket or use towards your next home. Maybe when you retire, you can sell that and then, spend your golden years in a retirement home or renting with help from your Social Security, whatever. And when you die, okay, they talked about. They talk. I know. Super prepared, douchebag in a muscle shirt. I know. But that's how I roll. Okay. Anyway, let's. Okay. let's look and think. Okay, so yeah, they kind of make the joke. The American is to be in debt forever. I mean, own a house. Again, if you do it wrong, if you refinance too much, yeah, you can end up really screwing yourself over, because every time you refinance, they charge you like $4,000, not out of your pocket, but built into your mortgage, which then takes away from your equity as a fee. So if you're constantly refinancing, you're screwing yourself over. As a general rule, don't refinance until you've made back that $4,000 in equity, which usually takes like 3 to 5 years, depending on the particulars of your mortgage. So yeah, obsessively refinancing is one way to screw yourself over with mortgages. And they said some stuff that was true. Like the first 10 years, most of your payments are going to earners. I would even say 12 years. But once you get past that 12, but you are, even though most of it's going to, not all of it is, even during that time, you are inching forward in equity. And then after that 10 to 12 years, you start to really get the ball rolling and earn equity, and you are sort of putting money in your pocket, so to speak. You're owning, if you think of it as equity is the part of the house that you own versus what you owe to the bank. That's kind of an oversimplification, but you are at least putting something into your bank versus renting. You're just going to move out someday, and the landlord has your money, and you're screwed. So yeah, and the bank is profiteering off of you. They're making a lot of money off you, but it's still better than what the landlord's doing to you, unless you got a really nice landlord who's giving you a dirt cheap rent, which I think is really, really rare, because I've seen rents these days and they're stupid expensive. So yeah, let's look back at my notes. Yeah, like I said, refinancing too many times because of the fees involved with the rest is not a good idea. So don't buy a house unless you're gonna be there. And they actually, and the thing is, this video, they actually do say some true good stuff, but they don't tell you till the end, and they overplay the bad aspects of the mortgage. Yeah, if so, you probably shouldn't do a mortgage unless you're gonna live there for at least 5 to 10 years minimum. Ideally, the full 30 years, so you get your mortgage paid off. Otherwise, you're bouncing around and you're refinancing and you're screwing yourself over. So mortgages are for people who plan on being settled in one area, ideally. Now, there are ways to do it and have it be worth it, even if you are moving around, but that's kind of more advanced stuff for people who really know what they're doing, and for kind of higher income people and all that. Yeah, that's that's mostly what I want to say, I think, about mortgages. Mortgage is a tool, and just like a knife is a tool that you can use to accomplish, to open a bag, or cut up your meat, and all kinds of useful things. You can also accidentally cut yourself with it and screw yourself over. Gosh, I don't know if that was a very good analogy. I was thinking of a gun analogy, but that's a little extreme. Anyway, if you know what you're doing and know how to wield a mortgage correctly, it is something that can be used to build wealth. If you're going to move around a lot, or if you're like very low income, it might not be for you. They also made a point about passing on debt to your kids. Well, hypothetically, like here's the thing, but you could also be passing on equity to your kids. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. Yeah, you can't find it. Yeah, you can't find a house for $100,000. They're all at least 200,000 nowadays or something. But let's say you bought a house for $100,000. You pay off half of it. So now you die, your kid. The house goes to your kid. Your kid now owes $50,000, but he has $50,000. He can $50,000 of equity. He doesn't have to keep paying the mortgage. If he has a different living arrangement that he prefers, he can sell that house and basically put that $50,000 in his pocket minus taxes, sales cost, yada yada. Say $40,000. That's a net advantage. That's a big net advantage over if you had just rented all those years. So I think that's what I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. All these videos saying don't buy a house, it's a scam. There's some truth to it. I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, the bank's making money off of you. Duh. This is a dog eat dog world. But if you do it intelligently, it is a tool that can help you advance your financial situation if you're smart enough, disciplined enough to follow through and know what you're doing. Now, all that said, another thing that's partly true about what these guys are saying, this is a terrible time to buy a home. Property values are overinflated up the yin yang, and interest rates are not great either. Wait until interest rates go down and values level out. This is a cycle; it will increase, or until wages increase and at a level that balances things out with the property. So this probably isn't a good time to buy, but the time will come again when it is a good time to buy. And if you bought in the earlier 2000s or 90s or whatever, and you played it intelligently, you probably you're probably sitting better. Unless you did the refinancing and used your house to finance other stuff with these kind of, that's another thing. These games of use your house to back a loan. That's probably not a good idea. Just live within your means. This is just generally a better idea. But I'm not a financial expert. I'm just a Joe who knows, because I'm working on almost owning my house. I got way more equity than I got. My equity versus debt ratio is very good, even though I am still technically in debt paying the mortgage I'm getting there. And like my parents and grandparents did that, so now they're gonna live forever, it seems like. But if they die, they've got properties to pass on to me, which would put a lot of money in my pocket. So and they're living, they paid off their mortgage, so they're living not having to pay mortgage anymore, or rent, not having to pay rent. That's huge. I mean, that's how you want to live. Now they got taxes, but that's not really so bad. Taxes and insurance, so it's not like you're living free even after the mortgage, but you're doing good if you get to that point. Wow, what happened to there? Something the world went black. Ooh, I should do a Ghost Adventures sometime, shouldn't I? Anyway, let's I hope you're all okay. Let's stop.